Hello and welcome, and it is the completion of the 21st day of December 2019. My name is Derek, and this is the Money Charts channel. Like always, all bets, trades, and of the like, within each his own risk and their own reward. For myself, risk-reward management is always job number one, and it should be, I think, if you want to be a successful, and I'll say gambler. And gambler, investor, when you read the definitions, gambling is all about taking a risk on something of uncertainty. And uncertainty in mathematical sense is easy to define. Something that does not have either a 0 or 100% likelihood of occurring. Which means in life you're forced to gamble. That's just how it goes. That's just, to me, it's like I say, accept the truth on it and try to manage it the best that you possibly can. And all right, on with the show. So you want to find any betting on this in cryptos? It's okay. Gamble with it. Gambling to me isn't a negative word, and it doesn't mean it's negative in word in that, but negative in loss for currency in return. It can be positive in return. That's why they have words like advantage gamblers, calculated gamblers, risk reward. You understand that stuff? You can make profits in these games. And when you're playing bear markets and trading and all that stuff, it can make things very difficult. As of course in bear markets, they're just harder to win at. Even when you're trying to short the markets and primary trends, anyway. With that being said, we've had these markets top on and look, all these markets against the dollar, Ethereum, LITECOIN, Ripple, yada yada yada, all down from these June highs. And this one's down about 2x. About from the highs. The other ones are down even more. And then you're talking about down even more from way back here when they were at 20,000. And then again, way back, way more for the other ones, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, yada. Ripple's down like 12 times or 15 times from its high. And then when it goes up, it's going to go up even more. That's all part of this risk-reward management session. As it goes, since it had this rally higher, it's just hanging in there within the daily chart. So this move, if it could at least hold in there to flatten out the band, that's what it's done. Yes, the 18 average of highs is declining. That doesn't mean much to me. 18 lows is flat. The price action from this high has just stayed in there and went sideways. And on microscopic volatility, the last 2 days, not really much occurring for the size of the moves. For the December 20th stamp, a low of 70.72, a high of 72.18. Differential is only about 150 points, or 2%. And relatively about the same, I think. This is a low of 71.09, a high of 71.94 today. That's like barely over 1%. So not much really to speak of. Again, either cryptos work or they don't. And if you look at it from an investing point of view, especially when you know this exists, I just got to wonder how many people in this world, and I'm almost sure this is almost guaranteed to happen. I hate to say lock, because that's something like almost a bad word in the gambling field as well. Sports betting like a lock that this is definitely going to happen. Hence why it's a gamble. But the probability odds for the situation of currency and major devaluation, and thus a greater transfer of wealth. But for those individuals with investable income in 5 figures, 6 figures, and especially 7-figure plus, and they don't own precious metals, they don't own cryptocurrencies, it's like, why? You don't want to protect any of it? And how much do you really need to put into cryptos when you got that kind of capital? You got $1 million to invest. Do you really need to put 100,000 in? I mean, you can, and I wouldn't stop you from putting in $250,000 or a third. But do you need to? I mean, you can put in 5-10 grand, and that can go huge to the upside, especially if you're good at trading. And even the basic system that I talk about can make larger fold gains when these moves do take place. So, yeah, I find that interesting why those wouldn't do it, but to me, I believe it gives you a good advantage when you're trying to calculate, like, I can only afford so much, and I can put this in. Especially if you're looking to put in some more, if you think these bear markets are going to continue a little bit. After all, we're talking about retracing from a current low and a current high. Maybe it comes down and tests this 5,500 area or down to 52.5. Maybe not, though. And I really can't answer that question. Thus, uncertainty. Gambling. Okay. I really don't think there's anything much to show here on the shorter term because, I mean, like really like that. This is like, yeah, oh, yada, yada, that's going on. So let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance quickly. And on the same hour time frame, just a sideways consolidation as well. And the daily chart, I haven't seen this in a couple or 3 days. So okay, maybe even more. Well, here's a excitation on December the 17th. You can see that it got above the 18 average of highs, stating on the 16th that it might have been doing it, and it's been doing it. So now after coming up to previous high, like that's just where you see things going. Oh, where's the next level of resistance? Yeah, about 70. Where did it go up to? Up here, so above, yeah, 70. And it's now just been hanging in there for 5 days. So next levels. Okay, now we got this range between 71.1 up to 72.8. And all this is happening in really microscopic volatility. Not much more to really to say on this one. Let's take a look at some alts. First, again, I mentioned Ripple down quite a bit, like over 10 times against the dollar. And before it broke out in 2017, we were looking at a coin that was 3/5 of a penny, $0.006. And then it has a little quick move up to like, well, 10x move to like 6 cents and change, pulled back down to under 3 cents, more than a 50% decline for just this little small blimp here. And then it breaks previous resistance, and it wasn't that previous ago when it happened, only a couple periods ago on the weekly then. And then in a matter of a few weeks, it manages to make it up to 40 cents. So from the low here, going from 2.8 cents to 40 cents. Volatility extreme, that's just how it goes. Law of the sideways consolidation, then another leg higher breaking its previous high. And it took a lot longer this time than it did back in the April period. But either way, got above the 45 cents resistance point to about $3 almost. From a low of 13 cents. That's over a 20x move. But really from this point of a quarter, well over 10x in just a quick month. And now it's giving it all back. So here you go from like almost 3 and now it's at like 20 cents. There's a 15x decline. That's just how it goes. So cryptos work. We most likely not only would go to previous resistance of 2 3/4, but we'd probably go to at least 10. And then you go, if cryptos don't work, not only would it go down to like back to like 3/5 of a penny, but then it would go to 0/5 of a penny after that. That's really the only 2 ways it's going to happen, either yes or no. And if it's going to be no, maybe yes happens, then no. Although what will not happen is it goes to no, meaning nothing, then to like $20. No, that's not going to happen. But maybe it goes to 10, then 0. Doubtfully, but possibly, I suppose. Risk versus reward, volatility, extreme. As far as this pattern's concerned on the weekly, yeah, that's just what it looks like. Nothing too enjoyable maybe. On the daily chart, we can see from this down move just consolidating. You can call it maybe an ascending triangle on a down move. Ascending triangle is more bullish on a uptrend. I don't get too enthusiastic of it here, but it's just hanging in there from the decline. We were back in November at like 31 cents. Now we're under 20. The highs we had in here, 50 cents from our June levels. So it's lost like 2.5x just from its most recent 6 month ago high. It is what it is. Now let's go into Theta. I probably should do a better one here. Why am I not trading this against the dollar? Seriously? Maybe I should start doing that. What the heck is going on here? Yeah, I'm looking at this for the... And I knew to do this too, and I was thinking about it. Would I have gotten the moves though? I mean... Okay, this is like 12... What percent are we talking here? 11 cents up to 12.8. That's a differential of 1 point. I'm not getting that move. But there's two people that wanted to buy it against the dollar. Oh my goodness, this one here. December 17th. This one I might have gotten. Price action at 9.6. Yeah, I might have gotten that one. Which definitely means I would have missed this. Meaning, I put a sell order. Even if I would have sold, say, 12.7, I had an order in. And I hit. Well, there's my win. I'm going to buy back whichever way. And then I'm going to put a new order below previous high, like 13.3. I know I would do that for sure. So I would have easily missed these two, but I probably suppose I should start putting sell orders in here. For like 22% moves. I was even thinking about trading this against the dollar, simply because I've been reducing code coins. I'm really doing this part-time myself now. I'm not spending much time. I'm looking at it twice a day, the markets, morning and night. So this is my nightly look at it. So, I mean, I haven't even looked at what's going on for this. Next time I'm going to Theta against the Bitcoin. That's ports that I go to. Atom, that's an interesting story. I don't even know where my Atom, I've lost my Atom literally. I want to talk about that later. I'll try to get them later. Not like I have much of it, but it's kind of, yeah, I kind of lost them. It's not cool. I did download a new wallet, and then it didn't look like I installed it either, so we'll see. And I haven't even looked recently to try to get them back. But that's, when I put my private key in to find it, it almost says like it doesn't exist, like the 12-letter word code. And then I put my 12-letter word code in, I'm like, oh my goodness. And I withdrew all my other coins because of that. Because like, oh, they knew my word, they knew my 12 words. Now they search it for like LITECOIN, they're going to find like 12 LITECOIN in there. Screw that. And then they're going to search all these other ones. Not anymore, of course, but still, it was like, whatever. That's just another story. Anyway, Theta's holding in there 14.23. I knew that was going on. H-bar has been down. Nothing really worth trading. But that's because, October the 1st, I had no thought I was going to be betting on hockey like I would be this year. October the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, I figured it was a theory. And I've been just kicking ass. I've had a goal to make 5 figures, 10,000 in the hockey season. I'm already a quarter of the way there. So I'm just going to keep on rolling with that. And speaking of which, it's 10:06 as I'm doing this. 10:11, I find out who's skating on a hockey game. And that information is important to me, especially with triple figures in stake in one game. Yeah, Theta against the Bitcoin, 14.23. On the hourly time frame, yeah, I was waiting for a break above here. I have an alert. It never happened. But I mean, I would chip away and sell here and there. And I'm out of a few Theta crosses. I'm not trading Theta against Neo anymore. And Waves. I've gotten rid of like all of that. A lot of them. I'm just playing a lot of my Theta, my Tezos, my Bitcoin Cash, my Litecoin. My DGB GRS I can't get rid of. I just can't get rid of that one. That's like the one that got me obsessed with ratio trading. And I still consider they're two on steroids. So if this is going to be a bull market run, I got to have those two together. And I just have to have my DGB, at least some of it. Komodo, if it does any Komodo on me, I got rid of that before too. Speaking of, anyway, I don't want to take a look at it. Theta here on the hourly time frame, you can see it during uptrend. Comes down to this low. Has this little bit of a rally and then immediately it rejects it. But it's also rejected the sell-off pretty nicely in a little bit. Higher low, technically to this low, but pretty much matching. And it's working its way now back to this previous high. That's all short-term stuff. But daily time frame, this thing is looking pretty good. And what's happened here is we're talking about this level of next resistance. It looks like it's going to. And that's what that alert is telling me it's probably going to go there. It's managed to meet piercing above this high. But when it came up to this level here, we can see that it really didn't resist it. That is huge. Now holding this definitely into here. Super important, because if we have this kind of run over this length of time, and this is a low volatile run, if it breaks any of this resistance big, we could have days where it's up like 45, 60, 80% on any given day right now. We'll look at Teslas next as well too, because I've been fascinated with that as well. But we'll see how this holds on. But to me, looking pretty nice overall. Let's take a look at this on the weekly chart. As you can see in here, I mean, there was that one day huge move. This longer move in here, the size of these green candles compared to this, you can see any given time when these things are ready to go. And it's not ready right now, but it's stating that it might be, because just the move above the 18 amongst the weekly like that is just a statement, meaning it's opened its mouth. If it's in the band, it's closed its mouth, meaning whatever you want to look at it, meaning it's escaping. It's almost like an escape of prison or jail, as if that's possible. You get where I'm coming from, where it's an attempt to get out of it. It will fail its attempt, at least for now, if it gets in the 18. It really loses going below it. But if it's above it, that means the statement is that it's ready to break out. And anytime it's ready to break out, you could have sick gains. And you talk about previous high, breaking above, all that type of stuff. Let's finish this off with Tezos. Because Tezos is declining a little bit, although up 1.8% today. That's nothing. I mean, there's only a few weeks overall. Nothing. The 18 average hasn't even caught up to it, although it'll beat it soon. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. Looks like we're a couple weeks away. Maybe 3. 2 to 3 weeks away. Daily chart. Having some weakness amongst or having some struggles, I think, within the 18, but definitely not even attempting to fail, because support has been established at around 2050. Breaking down below that is an attempt to revert the trend, but so far it's still holding within the 18 lows. Hasn't had a test of the 18 highs since it went down there. So this rally here was lackluster on December the 20th. That's another way of putting that. But with the lackluster rally that was rejected the very next day, which is today's session, it rejected it. It's still holding this area, but if you see it at like 1955 or something, even though it's at this area of support, I wouldn't be surprised if it's at least going to go to 1750, and well, we'll see what happens after that. And on the single hour term, we can see this is a lackluster rally, because you have this high at 2560, you come down to 2050, and you make one lower high, another one after all of these, then you make one higher high from that one, but you're still lower on this one. And then correctionary test. Well, it corrects this one well. You can see how the 18 low succeeded, like all successful corrections usually do. It hangs in there with the highs, but all it does is come up to here, barely piercing above. So there's your lackluster move even more further. So how does it correct the 18 here? Well, supports it for a bit. Now it goes below it. So this is where it must hold. That's what I talk about. It's okay to go below the 18 for a bit, but as long as it doesn't break that level, especially when it comes to highs like this. And there we have it, leaving the 18 lows. And you can see just on this 7 o'clock timestamp this morning, the sign stating that this was going to go lower, and it did. And now it's resisting microscopically lower than where it was breaking down from at around 21.25. And of course, it's resisting the 18 average of highs now from this last move. I got to go now. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.